Hey, hey. Hello, everyone. And I'm live. All right, all right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Doing another Facebook Live here. Oh, you know what? All right, you hear my voice. Thanks for checking in. Give me 1 second. I don't use these suckers, so I guess I better put them on so I can see what's happening with the screen. Forgot all about that. Don't use glasses normally. Just need them for this writing on the screen. So, uh, hello. Uh, Seems like I have a good sound check. I assume everyone, you can hear me. So you don't use them either, huh? I just bought them. I mean, I only bought them to read the small print on the screen. So aside from that, reading normally, I can see everything just fine. So, uh, hola, ¿cómo estás? No Zero. Bueno, bienvenidos. Um, hey, thank you, Reggie. Thank you. Yeah, it's a whole new look for me, man. No Zero. Habla español. Es tu primero idioma. Is that your first language? I was asking. Cool. Never wanted to wear glasses. Ah, segundo. Okay, bueno. Okay. Entonces, English is your first language then, huh? Man, these things make it easier. Ah, dominicano. Bueno. Okay. ¿Naciste aquí o you naciste aquí? So, this topic is okay. Okay. So as you all can see, this is a topic that I like taking on topics that people don't normally talk about. And even if it's politically incorrect, it's even better. That means it probably needs to be discussed more than anything. Thank you, No Zero. This is one of those topics that you just don't hear about, right? So as men, we're supposed to accept what we get. Like even women have that mindset towards us. You should be happy to be in a relationship. I was seeing a woman. She was half Dominican. Her mother was from Dominican Republic. Her father was half Chinese and half Indonesian. So very exotic and Spanish. Technically, she learned Spanish first, but uh, she spoke Dutch and some other languages aside from English. But she said to me that instead of wanting all this stuff from women, I should just be happy to be in a relationship, just be happy to be with someone. So I think that's just sort of a common conversation for women and around the world because she wasn't born here. She was born in South America. Yeah, it's normal to them, and we're crazy for having any expectations. I mean, I'm always shocked to see when the woman who's overweight and she loves that my body's physically fit, and when I say to her, I want a woman who's physically fit too, and they're actually shocked. So, so yeah, so we need to tackle this conversation. Uh, let's get the likes up in here. Like the video. We're gonna take on Right, exactly, exactly. And I want to address that. Uh, I actually really thought this one out. So I thought about this. I thought about this in a way that it's probably gonna have to really go on a instead of memorizing it all. I want to keep it in an organized way. So I go. Is that can I get away with water instead of beer? So let's get the likes up. Like this. Let's get some likes so we can get some more people to join in on the conversation. So, do men have the right to demand tangible benefits from a woman? According to women, according to women, no. No, we're supposed to be happy. Exactly. And I wrote something up about this, and if you ask women what tangibles they bring, you get crickets, or they tell you, I'll cook for you, I'll clean the house, I'll take care of the kids. And those are cooking is something that she gets something, and a clean house, well, either she wants to clean a clean environment or she doesn't, right? So those are not necessarily, yeah, those are not necessarily things that she does directly that are exclusively a benefit to you. So I'm actually going to talk about, yeah, and that's the problem. It's the way we raise daughters to think. The problem is that's why they only know that. But I'm going to build a case, and then I'm going to drop a bomb for what the tangible benefits are for women to give to you. There's some that we kind of know about, and you may have heard me talk about some of the tangible benefits before, but I'm going to lay this out and why it's tangible for you in many facets. So I'm going to strip this down in layers. Let's strip it like stripping an onion, right? Peeling an onion down in layers. So you've heard me say some of these things, and like I said, I want to peel it down in layers, go deeper, and I'm thinking about solutions also. So this way that as men, you have significantly more power when you're dealing with a woman. Uh, a woman is often, as much as they don't want to be objectified, they're negotiating with sex. And if that's all she has, I want to give you an upper hand so that if she's only bringing a vagina, if she's only bringing that thing in there for to negotiate with, and sex is mutual, and I'll talk about that. You need to be able, as a man, as a man, you need to be able to demand more. So if you have a teenage son, share this video with your son. Get him in here live. So if he has questions, start having kids around. If not, exactly. Yep, exactly. Exactly. So having your sons around you when you work definitely gives them a different perspective on life and a different work ethic. I mean, look at the decades we had of take your daughter to work, right? So what were we saying to sons by saying take your daughter to work? And I did a video on that. I think the last one about how your mother is really working against you. And I'm not saying it's a conspiracy. I'm just saying that the way we have built our society socially is to really look out for the girl more than the boy, with the expectation that boys are going to be fine. So, so let me get into this. If you ask a woman what she brings tangibly, a lot of times she's going to tell you a child. Yeah, definitely need to invest in boys more. And absolutely, want to definitely touch on that. And that's why I'm suggesting get your sons into these kinds of conversations more often so that they're not like a deer in the headlights. Exactly. I have no children. So if that's all she's offering, well, yes, sons, your nephews, uh, the guy you're mentoring, like this video, share it, get it out to these young guys who are in their 20s, guys who are still trying to figure out what's going on, guys who are coming off of something that a relationship they didn't like. They need to be part of this conversation. So like I said, a lot of times women will say, I'll give you a child, and that's a tangible. Yeah, yeah, right. They'll tell you that's a tangible benefit to you. Except when you think about it, right? A child is an expense. For the first 18 years of a child's life, it's going to cost you about $250,000 to raise that child. That's what it's going to cost you. So I'm not sure how that's a benefit. I guess for a woman, she'll feel like she has someone in her mind that's going to love her unconditionally. But a child really is an expense. I mean, he may become an asset and a benefit later down the line, but you spend $250,000. Yeah, men have been duped with the Ponzi scheme. But if you spend $250,000 on a child in their first 18 years, what's the return you've gotten? They cut the grass, they clean their room. Uh, what are the benefits, right? Took out the garbage. So if anything, a child is a tangible asset to a woman, especially if she decides to take you for child support or she wants to get money from the government. So it's an asset to a woman. She has a benefit. It's more beneficial for a woman to have a child than it is for a man, especially in his younger years. Then you get women who will say sex is her tangible benefit. Well, sex is mutual, right? And besides that, a guy can pay for sex on an open market. So the cost of paying for sex on an open market is much cheaper. It's much less expensive than getting married, right? And having the risk of having half your assets taken from you. And if you think about it, right? So having a child, which implies having sex, if that see, not a lot of value, not much. But if that's all it is, it makes her a commodity. And that's why I say if a woman, her main and only bargaining chip is sex, uh, don't marry her. And I'm gonna lay this out why you would never want to marry that woman, because that's gonna end up being more of a liability to you. It also it makes a woman a commodity. If a child, which implies sex, is the only asset that she's bringing, you have about 2 billion women, adult females on the planet. So she's a cheap commodity. And a lot of older guys fell for that. And that's really a big reason why our society is in the condition it's in now. So now you have movements, you have philosophies like MGTOW, red pill, black pill, cisben, Itmore, and a lot of others. And what's funny is a lot of women think this is just some phase that guys are going through. And when guys get off this phase, they're going to come back and grovel and beg women. And eventually it'll be what we call the female normalcy. And so that's where she does the minimum to get access to your resources. Now there's another group of women who believe she just has to be your cheerleader, and that's her tangible asset, and that benefits you. Now think about this, right? And I've explained this to women. How many cheerleaders received credit when the Chicago Bulls won championships, or any professional sport team? In marriage, a woman can claim to be a cheerleader and then take half of all your assets. So imagine if the cheerleaders for the Chicago Bulls, the Dallas Cowboys, or anyone else, imagine if the cheerleaders demanded half of what all the professional athletes earned because they said they were on the sidelines cheering you on. Well, it might sound ridiculous, except look at Dr. Dre recently and Jeff Bezos. I mean, these guys are worth a lot of money and have a woman, Jeff Bezos, $90 billion. She gets 45 for being a cheerleader, having children. That's a lot of money for a cheerleader. And they'll believe they're entitled to your fruits of your labor for having children. And of course, that means sex. The problem is men have accepted this for a very, very long time. So if a woman's a cheerleader, she's literally on a sideline and they claim to be your partner. Your partner, your teammates, they're on a court with you. They're on a field with you. That means the court of life. And in life, well, if you look at life as a game, there are lots of complexities to it. And if you're going to have a partner, you really want a partner that's going to contribute to your success, not just standing on a sideline saying, you can do it. If no one can, you can do it. That just doesn't work. Choice. So if you look at many of our mothers, our grandmothers, they actually had a better understanding of what it meant to be on a court with our fathers and grandfathers. And if feminists convince women that men should just be lucky to have her, and women shouldn't have to do anything more than just be there. Right, exactly. They wait at the finish line for a lot of them. Well, even the women, I mean, look at Dr. Dre, what, 24 years? I mean, I don't know much about his marriage, but does she have the right to demand if he's worth 900, $800 million? Was she actually on the court doing the work like he was? Look at Michael Jordan. Did his wife really have the right to demand half of his assets? He's the one who actually trained his butt off. Yeah, he trained his butt off. You look at Michael Jordan, you look at LeBron James, you look at any professional athlete who worked his butt off. Does that mean his wife has the right to half his assets? So the feminists convince men and women that this paradigm that we're looking at is actually a constructive social construct that benefits all of society. So, and if you take a step further, so I'm peeling this in layers. For the past few decades, a lot of women were told to get in touch with their masculine side. To be honest, no woman has a masculine side. I mean, think about it, right? Imagine if the feminists told women to get in touch with their bird side. So women would go out and buy feathers and then claim they could fly. Yep. Yeah, some women do try to look like men. That's a problem. And wonder why they can't get quality guys. But just imagine if feminists told women to get in touch with their bird side. Like you be a fowl, you can fly. That would just have women pretending something they're not. And that's part of the problem. A lot of women say, well, I have a father, I have men in my family, and I've seen what men look like, so I know what it means to be a man. And ultimately, here's what part of the problem is. Women have equated manhood with having a job. Now, listen, a man not having a job and being able to make his way in life, that's a problem, right? And it's a problem when a man doesn't have a job because no woman, and we've seen this, women don't want to marry unemployed men. Yep, exactly. Where athletes get taken to the bank by women, and then when they exhaust all of his resources, they walk. He's worth nothing. But female nature seems to believe that having a job means that she's as much a man as any other man. I can take care of myself. It means that I'm a man. I know what it means to be a man. And I think that's made women very delusional about understanding manhood. So if if having a job made you a man, then you could actually go out and buy a bunch of feathers and glue them to you and wings and jump off the Empire State Building and fly. But having a job, having feathers, those don't make you things. You're going to be a woman no matter what. So part of the reason women can get away with not having tangible benefits is because men don't even know what it means for a woman to have tangible benefits. We don't even teach that. And when a guy does demand that a woman has something to offer, he's called a misogynist. It's like what I was saying in the beginning. If a man says, hey, I want a woman who's physically fit, well, you're a sexist. That's not fair. You should accept a woman for who she is. Love is blind. Yet they want a guy who's 6'2", he's cut, he makes six figures, and he has a good muscle mass. Right? They don't necessarily want Arnold Schwarzenegger. They walk away with this money because he didn't select the quality. Yeah, exactly. A lot of guys didn't select quality women, and that's what I want to talk about. That's why I have this title: Do men have the right to demand tangible benefits? And they do. But for a woman to be quality, she's got to have something. So for a woman to have tangible benefits, to a woman just being human is enough. To a man just being right. Well, and somehow that's what we've gotten, right? Just being a human, a woman is enough, and a man has to provide all this stuff. That somehow we ended up here, and it seems like no one's happy. And so I'm saying men have actually accepted that, and women just kept lowering the bar. And they lowered it, and men kept saying, okay, so here we are. So I'm going to peel this down. Let's look at it this way. Be inhuman, right? Well, some women call men dogs, right? But the problem is a lot of women love those men who are dogs. The more women a man slept with, the more valuable he is to a woman. She assumes he's going to be a good lover or something like that, right? Yeah. So think about integrity, right? So, and a lot of women are not going to like this. Part of the integrity of a woman, one way a man, you're looking at a woman, and I'm doing this, right? The shape, the waist is smaller, noticeably smaller. When a woman allows herself to lose that small waist, she's lost the integrity of a woman. Now think about a Rolls Royce or yeah, exactly. So think about a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti. Those cars are made for a certain kind of performance. That means they have parts that actually promote and support high performance, luxury, power, speed. If you start changing the parts of a Rolls Royce or a Bugatti and putting much cheaper parts in, you compromise the integrity of that car, and it may not perform at the level that it was designed to perform. So women were designed to have a performance, a certain look, a certain feel. And when women let go of that small waistline and tell you, well, I have children, or I'm busy, or I can't, there's a level of integrity. Not only is it the integrity of her physical body, also look at the integrity of her diet. So if a woman won't eat the proper foods to maintain the integrity of her body that she was given from birth, then there's a good chance she won't care about the integrity of your health also, right? So some people may say a woman's physical body is attractive, and that's part of her tangible asset, right? Which it could be, because if you look at a lot of guys looking to go to a higher socioeconomic class, a lot of what could benefit him is an attractive woman, right? She can be an asset just by being attractive. That's why you hear guys talking about a trophy wife, just by her being there. Yeah, that's a big problem, Michael. Women want traditional men, except they don't hold traditional values. And that's part of what I'm talking about, right? So if you look at a traditional woman, one of the things, the integrity of that woman was to maintain her female figure. She was also responsible for maintaining the health of the family, right? So making sure the father ate well, making sure the children ate well. And if you see a woman who doesn't care about the integrity of her own body, how is she going to care about the integrity of the family's health, whether it's you as a husband or the children? A lot of times you see women who are overweight, you see right behind them are children who are overweight. And how can you really care about your children if you allow your children to become unhealthy? How are they going to have healthy, prosperous, uh, yeah, how exactly? How are your children going to have healthy, prosperous lives if you, as a mother, don't ensure the integrity? It also says something about the father, right? I mean, him overseeing and ensuring that his family and his wife um, have the integrity of health. The problem is now, if a man speaks up and says, "Honey, you're losing your figure. Honey, what are you doing? Honey, you're not healthy." He's called a misogynist and a sexist. And part of the problem is men have actually accepted themselves to be in shame. It surely affects, it no question affects the family. Because if your mother is fat, yeah, if your mother is fat, then as a child, you think it's okay to be fat also. And we have a lot of children with diabetes right now. That's, I mean, technically, the obesity level in the United States is a matter of national security. How the hell can a nation defend itself if most of its citizens are fat? I mean, that's delusional. How can your community be prosperous? How can you create generational wealth if you're building generations of obese people? We're talking about people who will die prematurely. We're talking about people who won't have uh, the physical power to actually go out and make things happen. If the father's fat, you're damn right. The kids are gonna think it's okay too. Yeah. But if women abandon the role of ensuring that the family has the nutritional value that it needs, she's abandoned a traditional role. And her integrity as a woman, because your mother is your first source of food when you're in the womb and even when you come out and your mother breastfeeds you. So if your mother's a crack addict, an alcoholic, if she's eating nothing except bad food, fast food, the integrity of your child's health is already compromised before the child is born, which affects that can affect that child for the rest of their lives. So if she doesn't feed herself properly, that's what I'm saying. Uh, she's not a tangible benefit to the man. Uh, yeah, well, you can say roles have changed, except whatever it takes to keep the human body healthy, that has not changed. So we can have all the feminist traditional values that are new in the 21st or 22nd century. Well, what it takes to make a healthy human being has not changed. Water, clean food are the things, are the elements. There's a design to a human. It's like I was saying, yeah, I'm gonna actually go down. Yeah, aside from physical, I'm actually peeling this down. So we're looking at okay, suerte, nos vemos, gracias. Yeah, well, so I'm gonna talk about uh, the roles women have played for successful men and roles that women can, and those roles have been tradition. And I'm glad you said that. So Yet women they took care of themselves in the military, and they can take care of the family. And you know what's crazy? When a woman says I don't need a man, she goes to work, she works an 8 to 12-hour day, comes home and takes care of the family. There's no excuse. You can't. It's the integrity of the family, unless she's just going to be one of those women who kills off her children. So, in talking about working, some guys, they'll say a woman who brings home a good salary, that's a tangible benefit. And yes, it can contribute. However, if she's not properly educating your children, who's doing that? Are you completely depending on the school, on daycare? Is it some babysitter? And if as a man you marry a woman and you know that your values are compatible and someone else is taking care of your child, that means your child is learning someone else's values. Like, there's no way around it. You don't know the values that the people at daycare are teaching your children. I mean, if you have your grandparents that are part of it, that can be valuable, but not everyone has that. Actually, times haven't changed. Nothing's changed. Human beings are still human beings. Exactly. So technically, nothing has changed. We might say they have. What the proof is out is that women are less productive in the workforce than men. So as a nation, we're completely losing. And when you talk about global competitiveness, United States is falling behind because we have so many women in the workforce. So technically, nothing has changed. Then let women, hey, look, a single mother can go to work and then come home and hold it down at home. Then she'll find out what it's like to do it as a single mother. Nothing's changed. You want to have children, they still need to be taken care of. They still need help with their homework. They still need guidance in life. None of that changed. None of it. Technically, nothing has changed. The reason it costs more, and I already did a show on this, is because women are less productive, and as a result, companies have to raise their prices to pay for less productive employees. And because they've raised their prices, it has suppressed the increase in wages, which means now you have to have two households. So by having women in the workforce, they forced a higher standard of cost of living. No, the solution is to send women back home and let the most productive person. There are occupations where women are more productive, right? There are occupations where women are better suited, and you should have women in those positions, but not for everything. We have an entitlement happening, right? So if you're no, I didn't say women are not producing. I did a show. The stats are clear. Women are less productive. If you pay women to produce less and they want equal, even if they get 75%, it's costing you more to have mostly men in positions where men are productive. But if you look at a gynecologist, you look at an attorney, you look at certain positions on the assembly line, women are less productive than men. Well, if it's better to have more women as janitors, yes. But there are a lot of jobs. And part of the problem is women don't want to put in the insane hours that men put in. I did a whole video and I read off the statistics. That is the reason healthcare costs are rising. You just look at the amount of doctors and healthcare professionals who are less productive than men, which means you have to hire more people to do the same job. So if you had 100 male doctors to do a job, and now you have to hire 150 women to do the same job as 100 doctors, that means you have to pay for those 150 doctors, which means healthcare costs go up. Women don't want to follow. So the biology of a man will make him work insane hours. There are men who are lazy, and those men lose their jobs. I, so here's the deal. Women also don't take the same level of risks that men take. And that's why men will create breakthroughs and create completely new revenue opportunities, because they'll take the risks, and that has to do with biology. The ability for a man to work insane, aggressive hours and keep pushing it, like gynecologists, male doctors, women don't have the biochemistry for that. They just don't. I mean, it's not just humans. They've even found this in chimpanzees. I've done videos on that. No, actually, women don't take the same risks in the military. That's untrue. Otherwise, you would have had women on the front lines of the battlefield. From 1996 until 2016, about over 6,800 men died from enemy fire in the military. Only 46 women died. If women wanted to take the same, yeah, well, you're the only guy saying that, because women do not perform the same. If women took the same risks as men, they would carry the same exact weight. Women would carry the same exact weight as men when they run, and they would run in the same time as a man. They do not risk their physical body to perform like a man. I just told you, women are not taking the risk that men. They're not carrying the same weight, and they are not running the same times. They do not perform. They do not risk their physical bodies to perform at the same standard as men do. That's untrue. I've spoken to too many. Exactly, you can't compare men to women, and and you cannot compare men to women. That is the point. The point is, because you can't compare men to women, men produce more, and that's actually costing us. Yeah, for sure, women that definitely have. Well, for sure, women can be creative. I'm not taking anything. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand you've served. I understand that. And all you have to do is, there you go. You're not the only one here who served in the military. Uh, Women do not perform. If you want me to prove that women do not perform like men, just look at the Olympics. Yeah, okay. Well, then you'd have more women who are Navy SEALs than men. Why aren't more, Michael, from what you're saying, there should be more women who are Navy SEALs. There should be more women who are Navy SEALs than men, and there aren't more women who are Navy SEALs. There just aren't. So here's one of the things that you can look at. If a woman is well educated, some could say that's a tangible asset, right? What also people would say knowledge is an intangible, so you can't count. However, if your wife or your partner, if your partner is willing to contribute their knowledge in a way that it allows you to accomplish things that you could not have done without her knowledge, your wife could be a tangible asset in that case, right? So, and I don't know if a lot of women want to openly give up their knowledge to a man, uh, especially before marriage, right? So how do you know you can marry a woman if she's not a tangible asset? If she's not providing tangible benefits to you, right? So if she has this great education and she's not providing her knowledge to you so that you can succeed at things, then how do you know she's going to do that when you marry her? right? So, um, and if she only wants to do it if she's compensated, then she might be a good employee. But that doesn't mean that you want to be in a relationship with her or marry her, right? So, so are women really committed to being a tangible benefit to a man, or are they just expecting the tangible benefits to be given to them? So think about it this way, right? So, and if she's just an employee, if she's being your wife and functioning like an employee, where she has to be well compensated before she gives you the benefit of her knowledge from education, she's acting like an employee, right? That's the employee mindset. Most employees don't care if the CEO benefits. In fact, a lot of people think the CEO is a fat cat getting rich off of their blood, sweat, and tears. So a lot of employees don't give their all. And in fact, some employees are kind of apathetic, right? When Jack Welch was CEO of General Electric, GE, he always at the end of the year fired the bottom 5% of performers in the company. That was a way to weed out and get rid of a apathetic culture in the company. But so what I'm saying is, employees who don't put in, who don't work their most to give the highest benefit to the CEO, they are just kind of there collecting a check. And that's how a lot of people work. A lot of people work check to check, and they're just there to get their check and do what they are there to do. If it's not in their job description, they don't care about doing it. Yeah, exactly. Michael is, no, hear me out. Hear me out. Michael is one of my groupies, so thank you for being here, Michael. So, an employee, most employees will do just enough to get the job done, right? So, and this has become the relationship. And you know what? It's not just relationships between men and women of lesbian marriages end up in divorce. It's because of the same exact entitlement that the woman is expecting the other woman to perform. And so imagine they both have that mindset, expect that they can do minimal amounts and receive the maximum benefits. And that's what lesbians are saying about women when they are married to a woman. So again, a cheerleader doesn't help you accomplish anything on the court. Some women claim to have your back, right? They'll say nice things to you when you take a loss, and they'll be there for you. Actually, I'm going to talk about tangible, not intangible. I'm going to give you a tangible benefit that any woman can develop in her life. Any woman. So most women don't care about producing extraordinary results. They are there to enjoy a good life. They talk about effortless relationships, and when a woman says an effortless relationship, that just means that a guy is doing all the work, and she's receiving the benefit. And if any of you listen to my show Sunday, one of the things that I talked about is men really taking a stand. Now, I never said women are weaker or dumber. I mean, physically they're weaker. So I talked about how men can transform the culture of the United States. And one of the ways that women are not weaker than men, okay, get the top 10 strongest women in the world and the top 10 strongest men in the world, and we see what happens. Yes, women are weaker, physically weaker. They don't have the same bone structure to handle the same muscle mass. So one of the things I was talking about is how men can change the culture of the nation. And one of the ways to do that is to really take a stand in what they expect and what they allow from women. And one of the things is to say no. The other thing is when women often use sex to manipulate men. It's really to become impervious and not to be really affected by that. And for men to do that, they're literally going to have to unlearn a lot of things that they've learned about whatever it means to be a man. And if you think about, there are lots of ways that examples of people who unlearn. Like look at Tiger Woods. He wanted to create a new swing in his golf swing. He had to unlearn a bat in his old swing, even though the old swing was good. He had to unlearn it. So what I'm talking about is for men to start training their mind so that they can actually get the most out of themselves and their women. So what's one of the most powerful, tangible assets that a woman, and this asset is so valuable that women will actually give you access to this asset, to this benefit. She'll actually hold that out there and not give it to you. She'll actually give you, a woman will give you her body before she gives you her most valuable, tangible asset. A woman will keep her most valuable asset close to her chest, like a poker player keeping it close to their chest. A woman will have one night stands. She will cheat on her husband, and she won't give access to her most valuable asset. And a woman's most valuable asset is her network. If you think about it this way, there are guys who go to matchmakers, right? And I was telling a woman who's a matchmaker, and she said that affluent men don't care about a woman's network. And that's untrue. The reason a matchmaker would pay a lot of money for a person to find them the right match, the reason they do that is because they need to understand a woman's family and who she comes from. So every family has a network. Every family has an ability to accomplish things, to get things done, a certain etiquette, right? It has a certain standing. I mean, just imagine if you have a king of one kingdom and a queen of another kingdom, and they bring the two kingdoms together to make an entirely new kingdom. Well, both kingdoms have networks that they combine and bring together that make them more powerful. In other words, the whole is more powerful than the parts. So when a woman brings her network to the table, a few things has to happen. Because the woman puts so much value on her social standing in the world, right? So women, a horrible thing for a woman is to get alienated, socially alienated. Women are more afraid of dying alone than men are. Men are more concerned about dying without ever accomplishing anything, right? So, they talk about juvenile delinquents. The reason why they become juvenile delinquents is they want to be known for something. So men want to be known for something. That's part of what drives us to be so competitive in our careers. And women have less concern about that. Women would rather brag about having a job and an education to have social standing. Men are more concerned about accomplishment in their standing in a competitive hierarchical standing and being a top dog. So, but when a woman puts value on the network that she inherited from both her parents, which then makes it important for a woman to come from a two-parent household, when both parents have a network and she inherits that, that's something that she can offer to a man. And that's worth way more than a woman going to work and doing a 9 to 5. Why? Because for a woman to turn over her network, that means she trusts the man. She trusts his ability to take care of the network that she turns over to him. She trusts that he's going to maximize and get the most out of it. I was having lunch with with a woman in Little Italy in New York, and we were in the outside tables, and we were sitting next to a young couple, and the wife was telling us how her father has a company, and her now husband is working in the company, and ultimately his goal is to take over and run the company. So that woman had a network that she has to offer to her son. So when women don't have that kind of network to offer to a man, what else is she offering? A vagina, sex, children, her education. When a woman has a very, very valuable network, the man is actually able to leverage it so that he can accomplish greater things. If you look at a woman's network like a spider web that catches opportunities, a woman uses that to benefit her husband. And women who don't have a network, how else can a woman benefit a man? I mean, if you just think about it, men think in terms of accomplishment. They think in terms of acquiring money, resources, toys, cars, houses. While all of those things attract the right woman, but they don't do it on their own. There's a woman, like they used to say, behind every great man is a woman, is a great woman. Well, that woman is behind the scenes weaving a web of networks that help create success. But if you think about it, if the woman is going to actually turn over her network to a man, she has to make sure he's well fed. She has to make sure his mind is straight, right? So a lot of guys just think about, well, I want a woman who gives me peace. Well, she has actually no incentive to give you peace, except if a woman is actually out there working on your behalf and supporting your efforts with behind the scenes work, that's more valuable than her having a 9 to 5. Oh yeah, the most successful men, they have the most successful men have wives who are behind the scenes. They are helping him find clients, employees, vendors with preferential pricing. Those wives are behind the scenes doing really valuable work. Having a job is not as valuable as a woman who's behind the scene creating a network. Now, if a woman doesn't know how to network at a high level, then maybe having a job is more valuable. But if a woman doesn't have the social skills to be able to get into a much more valuable network, see, and that's this is the point. If men want to understand the value and compatibility of a woman, look at her network, because that's what she's offering you. That's what she's bringing to the table. A nice body, a vagina, a womb, that's a commodity. You can get that from billions of women. In fact, you can pay a surrogate woman to have your children and then tell her to go away. You can hire a nanny to raise the kids. Having a vagina and a womb and breast, those are not assets that make a man's life better. How a woman makes a man's life better is actually being able, right? So the woman who has a low value network can only attract low value men. See, high value men, when these guys are paying matchmakers, they don't have to say, find me a woman with a great network. They're saying, find me a woman in a certain standing. It's not so much that money is about attracting money. In a way, yes, because you want to know that a woman is accustomed to having money and she's already been trained on how to manage enormous amounts of wealth. So you don't want her squandering it. What a matchmaker will help a man find is a woman who comes from a pedigree family. And when a woman comes from a pedigree family, that pedigree gives her access to certain networks. And those networks give you access to certain opportunities. And those opportunities may give you access to power. Men are more concerned with power. Women like men who have power, Well, women are not always the one who's welding power and making something happen with it. It's men who's doing that. And what women are doing are building networks that support her husband, her partner, to be able to make powerful moves in the world. Usually poor men need a woman to work, or lower on a socioeconomic scale, because if a matchmaker finds a woman from a pedigree family, that woman, her network, the first half of her network comes from both her parents. That network could be worth billions. It could be worth access to negotiating and merging with his company with another company, and it could be worth literally billions of dollars. Most women are not making millions of dollars at work on their job. They're definitely not making billions. So a woman's job of making 50 to 100 to $200,000 does not compare to a woman who actually has the skills to know how to network at the proper level. The women who don't have that, that tells you why they can't attract those kinds of men. See, your network will attract the kind of man that you claim to want. Women who want this guy who has a high net worth, he looks great, he's well educated. If you don't have a network to support his success and taking it to the next level, you don't deserve him, because you don't have the tangible assets to bring to the table. Just having a nice face and a nice body is not going to work. And a lot of guys find that out the hard way. So, and if you pay attention, a woman who has a valuable network, she doesn't share that with just anyone. She sits on that network until she knows the man is actually can be trusted with her network. She sits on it. She will get to know you to make sure there's compatibility. See, when you get to women who have the intellectual capacity and discernment to know the difference, she's already, even though intellectual capacity and discernment are intangibles, but that gives her the ability to know when a man is qualified to have access to her body, to her network. A woman will give you her body. A woman has less value on her body than she does on her network when she has a valuable network. Well, it's going to take something for men to actually be able to put these kinds of demands on a woman. And so, because most women don't have any idea that her network is her tangible benefit to a man, most women are not out there building a network. It's like it's a lost art. So women are just being indoctrinated to believe that vagina, womb, nice ass, and women go out and do all this cosmetic surgery that has no tangible benefit to a man's life. And if she puts more value on her network than she does her body, that means she takes care of her. A fat girl already, she has no valuable network. All you have to do is look at the amount of billionaires who are fat. Look at the amount of CEOs of Fortune 500 who are fat. Look at their wives. And I know enough of them personally, and I've met their wives. They are not fat. In fact, CEOs will tell you one of the things you want to do is work out. That's part of their daily routine. So fat girls don't generally attract top level. Yeah, if your mother's fat, so what? We can all blame it on genes, but your body, the food you eat, the routine, how you live your life is going to dictate what your body looks like. And that's why I made a big deal about that in the beginning. Integrity is a big deal. So, and if you think a 9 to 5 is more valuable than a woman who can go out and create a multi-million-dollar network, then you don't understand how people get things done. See, there are too many people with the mindset who says I can do it on my own. It's very difficult for anyone to accomplish something great. That's why men who are successful look for women with networks, because a relationship is a team sport. He knows he's not going to have time to do it on his own. So a woman, even if a woman does, let's say she's an attorney, even a doctor, an engineer, and she has a great job, she still needs to be out there building a network. She can use her job as still a platform. But women who are not working don't need to go to work to build a network. They can network with other women who are married to successful men. I've seen it. And those women are very successful. And they take their lives to higher socioeconomic classes, bigger houses, more vacations. Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying 9 to 5 has less value. But for a woman to attract that kind of man, this is why it's important to come out of a two-parent household, because that's your first network that every woman gets is from her parents, both parents. And you know what? I understand that you could say this is still hypergamy and women are hypergamous and they're looking to get the most out of, they're looking to get the most they can get for the least they can offer. Well, if a woman really wants more in life, she will go out and develop these tangible assets, which is a network. And I think a lot of men, if you understood women are like water, then you would understand a female nature. And if a man sees himself as a bucket to hold the water and give it form, that's a major role for a man to play. So that means you create boundaries. If you don't have them, a woman is just going to be like water and she's going to go everywhere and anywhere and be formless. But if a man provides the proper boundaries for his woman, for his family, a woman can be pointed in the right direction and accomplish a lot of things. So some guys might have to take a risk on a woman and train and develop her to understand how to develop networks. That means she may be missing half, which is a network from her family, which means man is taking a risk on her. But if a woman comes to the table with a network, once she turns that network over to a man, she's going to have much more value on the relationship than she does just bringing her physical body in her womb to have children. Because she can walk from the guy and take the children and demand child support and alimony. Once she puts her network as part of the relationship, she now has to continue to protect and nurture her network, especially her parents. She doesn't want to embarrass her social standing for her parents by bringing the wrong guy into her network. So it becomes a huge advantage and benefit to a man when a woman brings her network to the table. And guys are overlooking this as though a nice ass and tits is enough to make a relationship work. If a man really wants to make a name for himself, one of the things that you will be looking for is you'll be looking. Well, I just told you, if a woman has a 9 to 5, she could use that as a way to network. But most likely, she needs to be well educated so she has access to a higher level of people. If the only thing you know are guys who work in mechanics, who's a mechanic in a chop shop or a mechanic shop, that's probably not going to be very valuable to a guy who's looking to make his way up the corporate ladder or as an entrepreneur. So that means discernment for a guy. Power doesn't have to just be running the world. Power is how you present yourself to the world and how you engage women. And a woman will look for a man who knows how to handle power. So that doesn't mean physically and mentally abusing her. If you want a woman with a high network, otherwise she's not turning them over to you. Successful men, Henry Ford. I've seen way too many guys go into the millionaire status because the wife was one of the best salespeople that he had. And she was a soccer mom. She was well educated and attractive. And she got him his biggest account. But that means, as a wife, she has to make sure he's well taken care of. She can't be arguing and bickering and complaining every day if she's going to be building and doing a bunch of behind the scenes work and turning that network over to him, and his brain is so frazzled from arguing with her that he squanders it. So women who understand the value of a network will understand the importance of keeping her man's head straight. That's the network is only it's the majority of it, but to maintain that network and be able to build beyond it requires full participation from the woman. To give the man his peace, to use her education to help him understand and see things that he doesn't see because he doesn't have that knowledge that she has. To brainstorm with him, to make sure his head is straight, to actually help him think through chaos and problems as opposed to adding to the chaos, to actually be a critical thinker and see his blind spots and help him be able to navigate through that. See, it's not just the network, it's what supports the successful ability to leverage that network. And it takes way more than just saying, honey, I'm going to introduce you. That woman has to know how to discern people. Women married to successful people. She's got to be able to talk to successful men without getting caught up in the whole sexual drama of having sex with some other guy and then turning them over to the network. Being married to a slut can create problems for you. So yes, men have the right to demand a woman brings tangible benefits to the table. If she doesn't, then why is she there? She's going to be just a piece of ass, and women don't want to be called that. It helps. There are lots of guys who've been successful without a woman there. Exactly, and that's that's why I was talking about. Men actually need to train their mindset so that they don't become the simp. They don't become the guy who just falls for any woman. Sexual manipulation. That's a huge problem, and this is the reason why so many women know they don't have to bring tangible assets. That's why Sunday when we were talking about if all men were trained. I'm about to go. If all men were trained to have their head straight so that they can actually take a stand and stand for something. No, no, I got it. I got it. Yeah, love to chop it up with you. Love to chop it up. So, I guess for a man to attract a woman who does have a valuable network, that's going to take some work on your part. One of the things a valuable man, no, I'm about to check out. One of the things a valuable man is able to do is be able to manage problems and chaos. And that's one of the things that a woman will want to see from a man. So, one of the bottom lines is chaos is not a problem, it's how you handle it. So that is uh, that is what has a man be able to hold a woman as water without her going all over the place emotionally, is a man being able to handle himself in the face of problems or chaos. And a lot of guys training to do that. Training your mind is no different than training your body to be an athlete. So, so you guys have given me some great comments. Thanks for the feedback. I'm going to get ready to sign out on this. Didn't expect to go this long. Thanks for the participation. For those of you who didn't get your friends to join the live, share this with them so that they can get the benefit. Both men and women can benefit from understanding tangible benefits women can bring, and the things that men can look for so they don't feel so lost. So like the video, share it, and thank you everyone. And I'll look for you in my next Facebook Live. Join me on my Straight Talk on Sundays, where we talk about always relationships and social challenges from a man's perspective. If you're not on my Facebook page, join me. And until then, thank you everyone. Have a great day. Bye.